Welcome to ProSeek Training Center. So we are going to start today wireless security. We are going to learn about uh, what is a wireless network, how exactly does it work, and what are the issues with the security aspect of wireless. Now, if in cybersecurity, if someone has to audit or test the wireless security, what is the hardware and what is the software which is needed by a person as a professional. We will also discuss about how literally someone can hack a wireless network even miles away. So, what are the issues with wireless security? The major issues with wireless security are, well, wireless is everywhere. You can't see exact signal of wireless, and there is no boundary as such. So when I say no boundary, I mean if you have a Wi-Fi in your home or in office, you can't stop the signal at some point, just the way we do it for wired networks. In wired networks, we have some kind of a control over the network. That is, we know exactly where our router is, where our switches are, where the end devices and users are. But here, because it is a wireless, you can't stop the signal uh, beyond your perimeter or your campus. That is one uh, area where security is needed, and most people prefer using wireless networks or wired networks to access uh, internet because it's really easy. They can literally move around wherever they want and still be connected to the internet. That is the biggest advantage of having a Wi-Fi. And increase in personal mobility devices also throws some light on the wireless security. Are you sure that the network which you are connected to is a secure network or insecure network? The reason being, we do a lot of shopping using our mobile phone, so we must be very sure about the networks we are connected to. Organization laptops connecting to public Wi-Fi is one more threat. Simple reason being, organization laptops, they have a lot of confidential data on them, so that data can be stolen away. Now if it is really big organization, enterprise class organizations, they do take certain steps not to put confidential information on the personal laptops of the employees, so they have the virtual desktop interfaces, but not all the organizations are or will be able to afford to do that. And then there is a culture of BYOD in offices, mostly for the startups, where you can bring your own laptop and work anywhere you want. That is one area again where wireless security is needed. So, what are the challenges if we talk about wireless security? One of the biggest challenge is how do we protect something which we can't see or sense? That is one challenge. Literally, it's everywhere. Second one is there is no boundary for Wi-Fi, as I told you. And then the top executives in the organizations who are decision makers, they would be connecting to public domains, public Wi-Fi sometimes, because they will be moving around a lot. It's really difficult for them to have a secure network to connect always, right? So they will have to connect in different places, and of course they will be using VPNs to connect to the office, but that's a different story altogether. And it is really difficult to locate the hackers. Now, if someone has to hack a wired network, then they will have to be physically present in that network. What about wireless? Well, wireless, they need not be present in that network. So they can be miles away and still be able to hack a network. Yeah, that is 100% possible, uh, depending upon the type of antenna they are using. Antennas are again different variety of antennas. We will discuss that. Now, difficulty in detecting passive attacks like sniffing. Like when somebody is actually attacking and disabling uh, your wireless network or disabling something doing bad, then you will know about it. Yeah, yeah, someone is there here. You will be able to sense them. But if they are not doing anything, they are just monitoring your network and sniffing the packets from your network, then that will be really difficult to catch them. So this is one more challenge in wireless security. Now, if you are to work as a cybersecurity professional, you have to do something called as a penetration testing or auditing a wireless network. So how do the professionals do the auditing? What equipment is needed or they use in order to audit a wireless network? So let's see. Primarily, you will need a laptop. Obviously, a laptop will have a built-in wireless card, and then you will also need a smartphone as a test device, and then you will need an access point. Here I'm just showing an access point, but auditors, cybersecurity wireless auditors, they use a device called as a Pineapple device, which is made by HackFi. You can Google HackFi and Pineapple, you will know what I'm talking about here. Then external USB network cards. Now these network cards, what I'm talking about are USB external. You can connect these network cards via USB to your laptop. Well, basically, the specialty about these network cards is they will be able to inject packets into the network. They are not just like a normal network card, they'll be connecting to a wireless network. No, these are something beyond that. Well, these work in a mode called as a monitoring mode, and they will be able to inject packets into the network. So when you inject packet into the network, you can actually test the network whether it has any vulnerabilities or not. Now these devices are available in the market. The Alpha card 36NH, it's available for about 4 to 5,000 rupees in India if it is not imported, and then if you buy it outside India, it will be cheaper than that. Next, we also have TP-Link 722N, which is version 2 is available now. Version 1 is gone, and then we also have one more access point, one more external network card from I think it's Terabyte. Terabyte is one more company which you can purchase. Now, if you want to test, these are the options you have. All right. So, wireless card allows packet sniffing as well as injection. Sniffing is the process where you actually monitor the data and record the activity which is going on in the wireless networks. Obviously, reason to capture any unencrypted passwords, maybe that network is using HTTP or Telnet unencrypted protocols, then you may be able to capture the credentials between the client and any server or any network device like a router. The software which is most popular for testing is Kali Linux. You can install the Kali Linux on a standalone machine if you can, if you have a spare laptop, or you can install Kali Linux as a virtual machine using hypervisor softwares like Oracle VirtualBox. So today we are going to use this Kali Linux on a VirtualBox to test a particular wireless network. I'll show you exactly the steps which are used for testing it. Right. Next. So how do we set up this wireless testing network and all those things? This I'll come back in a minute. But before we do anything, let us go and discuss some fundamentals of wireless. Then I'll come back to this hacking part. Okay. So first, what exactly is a wireless network? Technically, how are you able to send data from machine A to machine B? What signals are used here? Well, basically, here we are using radio frequency as the base. Remember here, I'm saying radio frequency is the base signal, and we are including our data into that signal. So a radio frequency is called as a carrier signal because it's acting as a carrier. It is going to carry our actual data, and our data is converted again to a certain frequency. Okay, see, for example, if you are listening to FM station radio, usually you tune to that radio on a particular frequency, maybe 93.5 FM. So when you are tuning yourself to that frequency, basically the mobile phone or your car radio is listening to them, and it is receiving the signals with that frequency. So along with the signal, the radio station will also include the voice of the song. He is going to encapsulate the voice signal of the singer along with the base frequency, which is 93.5 or whatever your FM station is your favorite. Okay, so once you once the signal is received, the receiver, what will the receiver do? Simple. As soon as the signal is received, the receiver will separate the base frequency 93.5 by filtering. Okay, if you are an engineering student listening to this conversation, then you you might be having an idea about this, like high pass filter, low pass filters. This you will be learning in your second year if you are from Telangana or other region, wherever it is. You have this concept of high pass filter, low pass filter. So they have this, and that's it. Whatever result is there, that is your actual song that will be played. Okay, using digital to analog conversions and doing all those that stuff. That's a different story. Now, in case of our Wi-Fi, computer signals. What is computer signal means? Computer signal means computer can send only 1 and 0, isn't it? So that 1 and that 0 is converted to some frequency. Okay, the frequency encoding and decoding, there are some names for them also. They're like DSSS is there, then OFDM is there, orthogonal frequency demultiplexing technique. So those techniques are used in order to convert that ones and zeros into radio frequencies. Okay, those radio frequencies are again sent on a certain frequency. What are the frequencies? What are the two most popular standards in wireless networking? Now, as I told you, example, FM station. If I ask anyone, they will tell your favorite radio stations. You will tell 93.5 or 92.7, whatever it is in megahertz. Those are your standards. Similarly, in wireless networking, we have two stations, universal stations. These are not just for a city or anything, right? So 802.11 BGN and 802.11 AAC, are these the stations? Well, exactly, not exactly the station, but yeah, these are the technical names given by IEEE as a standard for wireless networks. I repeat, if someone is saying Wi-Fi, if someone is saying Wi-Fi, that's a commercial name. The technical name, as suggested by IEEE or given by IEEE, is 802.11 BGN, one standard. Another standard is 802.11 AAC. Next, a wireless card. If you are having a wireless card in your mobile phone, which is built in, or if you are having it in your laptop, then a wireless card can either transmit or receive on one channel at any instance, which means a wireless card, until unless it is specially designed to have multiple antennas, it cannot receive and transmit at the same time. I repeat, unless and until you have some special wireless card which has multiple antennas and hardware, by default a wireless card can either transmit or receive a signal. It cannot do both at the same time. That is the reason in our home, if we have a single wireless network, the more clients are connected to this wireless network, the slower will be the network. Now, when I'm talking about channels, what am I talking here? Now, let me show you here. Channels means there are two standards, 802.11 BGN and 802.11 AAC. Now, each of these IEEE standard is having a particular frequency. So here It starts from 2.412 to 2.484 gigahertz and 4.915 to 5.825 gigahertz. Remember here, in FM station, the radio frequency is in megahertz. In wireless network, it is gigahertz. Obviously, you will understand by terms mega and giga that giga is higher frequency and mega is a lower frequency. In terms of comparison, if you talk about the range of a wireless network in our home, it won't be beyond a couple of 30 feet, 40 feet. Maybe if you are having a really good Wi-Fi router, you may even go up to 100 feet as well. Yeah. But what about the radio stations? Well, their signals they carry to kilometers. Why? Because megahertz low frequency, gigahertz high frequency. Okay, lower frequency signal will travel longer distance. A higher frequency signal will travel a shorter distance. But the problem with the lower frequency is it carries it carries a lot of noise and interference when it is moving from place A to place B. That you can actually see. Whenever you go to certain places in the city, you will not get a proper radio signal. You will get a lot of noise, which is not acceptable in case of computer communication. So we settled for gigahertz. Channels. Now every Wi-Fi station or every Wi-Fi network will be running on one of the 14 channels if you are using BGN. Okay, so let me show you the channels here. Now what you are seeing here is the channel range. Channel number 1, this is the center frequency, which is 2.412. This is channel number 1. Channel number 2, 2.417. Now if you look carefully, you will see that channel number 1 and channel number 2 are interfering with each other or overlapping with each other. Is it good? Well, not good at all. It's just like two FM stations transmitting in almost the same frequencies, then definitely you are going to have a lot of overlap and there will be a cross connection here or interference here because of this two. So what is the point I wanted to say here? If your Wi-Fi network in your office or home is running on channel number 1, and if your neighbor's Wi-Fi or your neighbor office is running on channel number 2, then both of you will not have a good Wi-Fi performance because you are literally overlapping each other's signals. That is really bad. You are causing a jam, a signal jam there. Then what are the channels which you must run so that your Wi-Fi network will have a good performance? Well, you will have to choose a channel which is not overlapping with your neighbor. Simple. So for example, if you look at this screen here, there are three such channels which are non-overlapping. Channel number 1, channel number 6, and then channel number 11. The solid lines what you see here are the channels, are the only channels which are non-overlapping with each other. Okay. Now, can we use all the 14 channels in India? Well, again, these channels are regulated. I'm using the term regulated because it is regulated by the government of India, Department of Telecommunication, saying that we are synchronizing ourselves with the world, and here there are our 14 channels. Now if you are to live in North America, then you cannot use more than 11 channels. This is the maximum Wi-Fi channels you can actually set up your Wi-Fi on. If you are to live in Japan, well, according to their government, they can use all the 14 channels. Now where are we? In India, we are supposed to use from channel number 1 to 13. Channel number 1 to 13. Okay, we are not allowed to use any other channel apart from these channels. Okay, sir, all this looks good, but how exactly do we know that which channel are we on? Well, see, if you want to be an expert in this Wi-Fi security, you must understand the fundamentals. You have to understand that Wi-Fi runs on this frequency and there are so many channels on them, and each channel is having a center frequency. Okay, how to identify which channel is a network running on? How do you know that? Well, basically, uh, as a security professionals, we use a lot of tools to identify or spot the networks. Okay, so today I am going to show you some of those tools which you can do it parallelly with me. Okay, so let me pull out some tools to show you. Here, one such tool is Fing tool, F-I-N-G, Fing. F-I-N-G, Fing. You can download this tool from Google Play Store. I'll just increase this size so you can see this tool here. This is called as a Fing tool, F-I-N-G, Fing tool. Yeah. So once you open that tool, yeah, once you install that tool, you will know exactly where to look at. I'll get back to that in a moment. Just download and install that tool. We'll come to that in a moment. So before that, let me go ahead and finish few things here. So let's talk about the wireless security. So those were the basics part here. Now there are four types of infrastructures where you can set up your Wi-Fi. The first one is you have a broadband router in your home provided by the service provider. Now sometimes these broadband routers, and let's talk about a broadband router which has an inbuilt access point. This is what you will get if you are getting a Airtel broadband router. Then it will have an inbuilt access point. Then you will have your PCs connected to this access point. That is one way. Or at some point in your home or office you are not getting a Wi-Fi signal, then you will install one extra equipment called as a Wi-Fi extender. That Wi-Fi extender will distribute the wireless signal further ahead, so more people can get the coverage. Okay, this is distribution system here again. Access point to extension point. This is one way. Second way is, well, basically you can have, this is in offices. This is in offices, office networks, or any business, hotels, or whatever it is. Well, in those cases, they have a broadband router or some router which gets an internet connection, a perimeter router that has got multiple Ethernet or fast Ethernet ports. Now, from these Ethernet ports or power over Ethernet ports, if you have a Cisco switch, you will be connecting to access points here. Now, these access points will be moving from floor to floor. Okay, or same floor you have multiple access points. You can have that type of infrastructure in this case. Next, LAN to LAN. Now, sometimes it is not possible for us to connect a wire between two buildings. This is because there is some some obstruction here between the two buildings. Then uh, some offices, they have a antenna set up on their office tower, on the office roofs, which will be seeing each other. Okay, there will be a line of sight between the two antennas and they will be exchanging the signal. This is one way of connectivity. And then if not, nothing else is there, then you will have your own mobile phone acting as a 3G or 4G hotspot. Your own mobile phone having a 3G or 4G hotspot, and you can use it, your network, like that. Next, Yeah, if I talk about some terms which are used in the wireless network, SSID is one term. SSID stands for service set identifier. Service set identifier is basically a technical name which is given to your Wi-Fi. See, whenever you connect in your mobile phone to a wireless network, you will say, "Hey, this is my Wi-Fi," but the actual name is SSID. SSID stands for SSID stands for service set identifier. Now, some of the security experts they say that you have to disable your SSID so that, see, basically what happens is when you start your router, Wi-Fi router will pick up your SSID and it starts broadcasting something called as a beacon signal to everyone in its range. Whoever is there in its range, it starts it starts distributing the signal saying that, hey, my name is so and so, I am here. Are you my client? If you are my client, then please connect to me. This is called as SSID broadcast. Now, this is enough for hackers. Why? When they start doing hacking, they literally go place to place and try to find out which routers are there who are advertising this SSID, so they can know exactly uh, what the settings of the router are, or what the settings of the Wi-Fi network are. How? Now, as I told you, Fing is one tool. There is one more tool here I want to show you. So this tool, the name of this tool is called as Net Surveyor. This is the name of the tool, Net Surveyor. It's a free tool. You can download it from this website or you can Google it. So, what is the use of this tool? Well, basically, this tool is going to tell me a lot of information about the Wi-Fi networks around me. This tool is going to tell a lot of information. For example, you see these big bars here. Below the bars, if you are able to read, it says CH1, CH2, CH3. CH means channel, and that's a channel number. Now, this is from my laptop's perspective. So, I'm sitting here taking a class right now, a live session, and right now, from my laptop's perspective, I can see there are 13 channels altogether from left to right, and these bars indicate the Wi-Fi networks on those channels. So, for example, here you can see on channel number 11 there is a huge, signal I am receiving here. Now, this signal is for the router or the Wi-Fi network called as a cracker. Here you can see CRACKER, cracker is there. And then again, uh, we have other networks. Now you see there are two colors here on the same channel. This is what a bad network design looks like. Well, basically here you have two different wireless networks running on the same channel, causing interference to each other. Okay, and again you can see these channels, the names here on the top, right? So, okay, sir, fine. So this is going to show you the channels and wireless, you are able to discover them. But how do we know exactly which access points they are using, or are these access points to have some vulnerability and all those stuff? Yeah, you can know here on the top. Now let me pull this down a little bit. Now here there is, in this table you can actually know what is the name of the wireless network. So here you can see Geo Fiber or My India or Act. This is most illogical thing to secure a network. You should never reveal your service provider name also here. Okay, and you should not say 5 or 4, 2 or 4 here. So if you are saying 5, then I know that you are using a 5 gigahertz signal there, right? It's too obvious. Okay, and never reveal your router names there, like D-Link underscore DIR 816. This is really bad idea. SSID name should be really unique, and it should be nobody should be able to understand what exactly the network is. You should never use your own organization name, nor your family name there, nor your flat number there. Definitely don't do that. Okay, and don't challenge hackers. Hack me if you can. I have even seen those wireless networks. Now, even if they do not broadcast, even if they do, now, for example, the pink networks, what you are seeing here are well, basically they are not broadcasting exactly. They're hiding themselves, but still I'm able to see them. And because whenever they are sending those beacon messages, even if they're hiding their SSID, they will be literally giving away their MAC address. You see this hexadecimal number? This is the MAC address of the access point. Now, once you have the MAC address of the access point, it can be resolved to find out exactly what is the make and model of that router is. Once you know the make and model of the router, the next step is to find out the vulnerability in that router, and you can start attacking on the router itself with the appropriate tools. Now, the channel number here, third one, you know which channel they are running on. Okay, and then the beacon strength. This is really important here. Beacon strength, if you look here, it is measured in dBm. The signal strength in wireless is always measured in decibels per milliwatt. Now, it's a logarithmic number, so the more negative the number is, the closer you are to that Wi-Fi network. For example, Cracker is shown as minus 39. Why? Because I'm sitting right next to that wireless network, the access point. This is my access point. And then I have San Mau. Okay, this access point, right? Again, this is on my own access point. Again, here they are very near to me. What about the other ones? You see the bigger numbers here, right? Minus 86, minus 79. Now, when you move towards these networks, these numbers will actually change again here. These numbers will decrease as you move towards that access point. So, when you are trying to find out any rogue access point, all you need is this software, carry this laptop, or the tool which I have told you earlier, a Fing tool. You can install that tool and you can move around and find out any rogue access points are available in your own office or not. This is to discover any hacker is there in your office or not, basically. How do I know exactly which network to attack? What will a hacker look into? Yeah, obviously hackers will look into, there are many networks are there, but which one is juicier one? Well, basically the one network which is sending and receiving more data is the juicier one for them. How do we know which network is sending more data? In the same tool, you have something called as a channel heat map. If I click on this heat map, you can see here the more red and orange a channel is, the busier the channel is. That means more data is flowing in those things. So obviously, I will try to find out. Okay, on channel number one looks too busy. So let me go ahead and find out which channels. Channel number one, which are the routers? So channel number one, I can see here. If I sort out on this one, there are multiple access points here. I can try out 1, 2, 3, 4 in my own leisure way. Right? Cool. So that's about this particular tool. Okay, let's get back. And now we are going to learn about, now see here, this is just a gist of the full course which we are going to teach you at ProSeek Training Center. We have a cybersecurity professional course where we cover a lot of aspects including wireless security. Now what I have shown to you is just a gist of the full course, what you will learn in wireless network and security here. Remember, we are also going to talk about Windows hacking, web application hacking, password cracking. We are also not only going to talk about just hacking things, we are also going to talk about risk management, which is really important part of cybersecurity professional. You want to go and write certifications and get a job and make a career in cybersecurity, then you have to understand risk management on all other aspects of cybersecurity as well. Okay, so you can contact the number which is scrolling down below for enrolling yourself to the course. The online classes have already started, and this course is duration will be for about 80 hours. Every day 2 hours will be there. 40 to 45 days we'll be finishing the course. We'll be covering all the aspects of cybersecurity. The fees details, you can contact the number which is given there. Now let's get back to and see the Kali Linux. Now Kali Linux, for the people who are just new to cybersecurity, this is the de facto operating system which is used by penetration testers, hackers. Literally, there are uh, thousands of tools which are pre-installed in this operating system, and the one which I'm using is the latest one, 2020.4 Kali Linux operating system. Now, for wireless network testing, so what do we do exactly? What commands are we going to do? Let me show you those things before we close for the session today. Now, as I told you, this is just a gist of the full course, what we are going to learn here. Okay. Now, this is the software part I'm going to use, and I'm going to show you the hardware part. Uh, what exact hardware do I have here? So I have this Alpha 36NH. So this is the card I'm using here, the Alpha card. Now this Alpha card looks like this. It has got a port here. You can see a micro USB port and followed by a dipole antenna here. Now this comes with a cable, a USB cable, and you can detach the antenna from the Alpha network card, which means what? You can remove that antenna. The antenna which comes with this one is about 5 dBi gain. Here you can see 5 dBi gain antenna. 5 dBi gain is double the one which you have built in your laptops. In laptops we have 2.4 dBi antenna. Maybe it can discover 5 or 6 wireless networks, but this one can go beyond that. Every 3 dBi your range will double. Remember that. So can we replace this antenna with a higher antenna, higher capacity, high gain antenna? Of course you can. You can just type here high gain antenna. Not adapter. I don't need an adapter. I just need an antenna because I already have an adapter. Right now, 9 dBi rubber ducky. You can see here, and these are directional antennas. 12 dBi, 25 dBi Yagi antenna. Imagine a situation where you have this 23 dBi outdoor antennas. This can literally scan the signal miles away. These are directional antennas, of course. Okay, if you spend some money, you'll get this antenna to your home. All you have to do is you have to verify what kind of a connector it has. Okay, now if it has got an SMA connector like this, then definitely you can connect it to our own the AWH, Alpha card, whatever we are having here. So literally you can scan and sniff data and you can hack these networks very far away. Okay, so as a disclaimer, I am saying you this is only for educational purpose. I'm just showing you what a cybersecurity professional equipment is used. Whatever hardware I'm showing you, this is all available in the public. I'm not asking you to literally go and do it. It's illegal to do hacking by IT law. Okay, so I have connected this alpha card, and let me show you the screen here. Let me go back and increase the font so that you will be able to see the commands as I type here. I hope this is visible. Okay, iwconfig. So iwconfig is the command in Linux to verify if you have any wireless devices connected to this. So I'll connect. This is the Etherios chipset. You can see on the left side I'm connecting Etherios chipset. I heard a sound that it is connected. Now you can see WLAN 0 is my network card, the alpha card which I have connected here. Now this one is showing as managed at this moment. Managed means by default this won't do injections and all that stuff as required. So we have to change this manually. Okay, how do I change this to monitor mode? In order to do that, first you have to disable the wireless card. So I'll use this command if config WLAN down to disable the wireless card, and then I will give this command iwconfig WLAN 0 mode monitor. Okay, now this one is showing operation not permitted. This is because the latest Linux, Kali Linux is not by default giving a root access here. So you need to give a command called sudo in order to do this. Now I'll give the command iwconfig. Now here you can see that the mode has changed to monitor mode. Okay, earlier it was managed mode. That means your wireless card will be managed by some access point. Now this has become monitor mode. What next? Well, I will run the command to bring this card up again. Now wireless card is ready. Now there are some built-in tools in the Kali Linux which are used for monitoring the wireless traffic. So I want to sniff the traffic. Basically, that's the first step usually everyone would. So let me pull this screen a little smaller so we can see the output properly. Now the command or the tool which is used for sniffing the traffic is aerodump ng. Okay, we have to run this command, of course, with sudo aerodump ng. Now if you want to write this in a file, you can write it in a file here in the output w test1. I will put it as test2 and I'll press enter. Now here you can see this tool is scanning the networks around that wireless card, and it is dumping me all the beacons. Beacons, what is beacon? As I told you again, beacon is a management frame uh, coming out of the access point as an advertisement to all its clients surrounding. Okay, and here I can see the data packets. So D-Link is also having a lot of data packets, and number of data packets per second, the rate, the channels, the encryption which they are using here, WPA or WPA2, where I can plan a tactical strategy how this can be hacked. Okay, so I can choose one particular network to hack. Control C to end this capture. Now this is how we can sniff the packets if you want to only sniff. So you want to, whatever data you have sniffed, it will be available in test2 file. Now you can analyze the data later on if you want to analyze it using a packet analyzer tool like a Wireshark. So if I do ls here, so here you will see test2 dot cap. Cap is the capture file. You can analyze that using a Wireshark to understand the frames and all those things, whatever it is, just for analysis purpose. Whether encrypted traffic is going on, unencrypted protocols are being used, and all that stuff. The next step is, once you find out, okay, fine. Let us say you're running this, you have found out a target. Let us say my target is this cracker. This is this one cracker. I'll just control C here. This cracker is my target. This is the SSID. Okay, SSID. I want to focus only on this, but I want to hack this network. So I'll capture this BSSID, copy the selection, okay, and I will include that. In the tool here. So I will say, hey, particularly I want to capture, or I want to focus on this BSSID. BSSID is base service set identifier, and I will give the MAC address as well on this one. Then press enter here. Now that would focus only on that network. Now you see there are not too many networks here. We are targeting only one network, so it is we are able to see only that. Now I am going to use my mobile phone to connect to that network. Then you will see my mobile phone as connected. It will be showing here at under the station here. So I'll open my mobile phone now. I'm just verifying if I'm able to see that network called Cracker. So I'm connecting to the Cracker now. Once I connect, you will see here, yeah, there it is. So this is the MAC address of the Wi-Fi access point, and this is the MAC address of the client machine, which happens to be my own mobile phone. And it is showing me power as -30. That means the client station and the access point are very near to each other. Okay, see the information which we can actually get from this one, right? If I disconnect, it may go away. Okay, now not only this one, let me tell you here, all this information is captured and it is stored in this test2.cap, which we can verify it later on. Okay, so what is the mitigation technique? Can we actually get away from this? Absolutely no, you can't get away from this wireless network sniffing. Sniffing can be done without your knowledge. You can't help on anything like that. Not only that, sniffing, see here, we can even literally hack a network, bring down that network without even knowing the password. Without even knowing the password, we can bring down that network. So there is one more tool called AReplay. So this is the command you can give here. So I'll explain you the command. This is the name of the tool called AReplay, which is going to do an attack called as a deauthentication attack continuously, and on which VLAN, on which WLAN I will give the BSSID of the WLAN or access point which I have to attack, and then I'll press enter here. So it is sending a deauthentication code on that network here. Okay, so I just cancelled it. I don't want to disturb any other networks there. So when I send deauthentication code, what happens is it sends a jamming signal to that wireless network, and and brings down the entire network. Nobody will be able to connect to that network until and unless you stop this command. And for to execute, the more dangerous part of this command is you don't even need to know the wireless password for that. You don't even need to know the wireless password for that, right? And then there is one more tool. Okay, now whatever I'm showing you here is just command line tools here. There are even some uh, graphical user interface tools which are available in the Kali Linux here. So Kali Linux has got a lot of tools, as I told you, readily available pre-installed. So if you go to the section of wireless attacks, you will see a tool called as Fern Wi-Fi Cracker. Okay, Fern Wi-Fi Cracker. Now Fern Wi-Fi Cracker is a dictionary based WPA attacking tool. Dictionary based means what? It is going to capture, first it is going to launch the attack, then it is going to capture the handshake process which goes on between the client machine and the access point, and in that handshake it is going to capture crucial information, like there will be a ciphers which will be exchanged between the client and the access point. So it is going to capture those ciphers and it is going to try to retrieve the key or guess the key. I can't say retrieve the key, I have to say guess the key, because we will have to supply this tool a list of possible passwords. Okay, once you launch the attack, let me show you the process here. So first I'll select the interface, that is my alpha card I have selected here. Now monitor mode is enabled on WLAN 0 mode, and then I have to, second step is to scan for the access points. Very simple, you can see here, anybody can do this, it's active. And then here you see Wi-Fi WPA. Okay, 27 access points have been detected. So if I click on this, it is going to show me a list here, right? So I'm not going to attack on any others because it's illegal. So I will attack my own network here. So I have my network here, yeah, and then I have to supply with a list here. What is this list? Well, basically I'm giving a list of passwords. Maybe I will have a list of 100 passwords, 200 passwords, even 1 lakh or 10 lakh passwords. This I can download from internet and I will supply it to this tool. So my idea is one of those passwords is the actual password of that Wi-Fi. Okay, so I'll have to browse and find out the list here. So you can see the list one, I'm supplying it, list one, and then I'll select the Wi-Fi and I'll say Wi-Fi attack. Okay, so now it is going to attack that Wi-Fi disk. See, deauthenticating, deauthenticate the clients. Whenever the clients are getting deauthenticated, they attempt to connect again. So whenever they are attempting to connect back again, this is going to capture that handshake process and it is going to compare those, encrypt and decrypt those using the list of keys whatever I am supplying here, and this one has found out my password here. Okay, so this is my test network. I just gave my password clear text here itself. Okay, you may be able to see this thing in the beginning of the video because I already cracked it, right? Yeah, so that easy it is to crack a wireless network. Okay, so what are the steps? Well, the biggest step you have to take in protecting your wireless networks is, if you are using your Wi-Fi in office, okay, in office, make sure you isolate the wireless network from your office network. Use wireless only for general internet purpose, and then your actual office must be behind a firewall. There should be a firewall between a wireless network and your wired network if you are doing a business. Or if you are a home user who want to protect your own Wi-Fi network, then make sure that the password is minimum length of 14 characters. Minimum length, combination of small letters, capital letters, numbers and special characters. And the third important step which you have to do in wireless home networks is disable WPS. Disable WPS. There will be a small button on the behind the router, which once you press that, then you will have to register a key. That is, without the proper password, you can also use a PIN number to connect a client to the access point using WPS. That is crackable easily using a tool called as a Reaver tool. In wireless, you can crack it easily. Okay, yeah. So that's about the session, and I'm saying you there are many other ways you can hack these wireless networks. In the full course, we will give you all the details and we'll show you everything, uh, possibly with the hands-on. So if it is an online class, then you may have to procure some equipment if you really want to test it on your own. This is really exciting and fun. And if you are coming to our own live classes, there is offline classes which once the government will allow us here, definitely we are going to have classroom sessions. In the classroom sessions, we are going to have dummy Wi-Fi networks where you can hack these networks and practice a lot. And remember here, this skill is needed if you want to become a penetration tester. You want to become a penetration tester and audit the Wi-Fi networks. Okay, next week we are going to come the same time, Saturday, 11 a.m. in the morning. We are going to have one more live session, and in that live session next week we are going to discuss about website security, web application security. How exciting is it for someone to get that skill, and what are the pay and perks? Remember here, even if you are not having a qualification, academic qualification is not there, experience is not there, still you can earn money in cyber security only if you practice a lot of web application penetration testing, and you can become a bug bounty hunter in that. Okay, so next week we are going to give you a gist of what exactly web application penetration testing is all about. Okay, you can call the numbers there for inquiries and fees and other details. So as I told you already, we have started one batch. Please join us. Thank you very much. Have a nice weekend from ProSeek Training Center. If you have any questions, queries, you can always put them in the comment box. We'll be happy to help you on that.